But before we do that, Peloton is a new sponsor of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and we got a special message from Cody out in Denver about Peloton. Take a listen.
Wow.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So, let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, thanks, Cody. All right, guys, let's get to our next topic. We know Dillon's starting for the Browns, but which offensive player around Dillon Gabriel has to step up the most to get the best out of Dillon Gabriel?
Did we organically come up with 4 different names?
G, I'm not sure who G's going
I was
with,
the last one to send mine in, and I thought someone
Go ahead, Jay. Who you got?
I mean, I thought the guy that was obvious. That's why when I sent it to Mikey, I'm like,
we didn't send one in.
oh, okay.
Because I said,
but we talked about it this morning.
Okay, I've got Quinshon Judkins. I mean, I still think that you can establish. What do you want to do when you're starting a first-time quarterback?
Run the ball.
Run the ball. You want to take pressure off this kid. Let him throw in situations where they might not be looking for you to throw the ball. And I think Judkins is that guy. I really do. I'm higher on him now than I was when we drafted him. I thought we should have taken Henderson. I was on the record saying if you're going to take one of the 2 Buckeyes, take Henderson. But after watching both of them, and I know that there's not a ton of data on these guys, but I just think Judkins is built to be a workhorse back.
I like Judkins more as an NFL between the tackles back than I did Henderson.
I do now too, and you said at the time Judkins is the guy. I've come over to your way of thinking. I still like Henderson.
Sure, yeah. But I wouldn't be sad if they drafted Travion Henderson.
I'd be fine with either, but I do think that in the NFL where you need a little sturdiness to you, I think he gives us everything that we need.
Yeah.
I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's powerful, he's quick. And I hope that this is the unleashing of 10. I hope this is the game where we look back and say, yep, we've got a dude here. We can run the ball and pass where we need to. But look, and I'm not saying we have the Eagles' talent. We don't. But the Eagles have proven you can win with an elite running back.
Yeah.
You need a lot of other pieces, but if you have that elite running back now, you can win. And for a long time, you couldn't.
Just to piggyback on that before you go, G, you could tell a lot about guys just by how the veterans respond to them and what the veterans think of them in an honest moment. And I'll give you Chase DeLauder and Quinshon as 2 guys that already have the respect of the veterans. And
I'd love to hear that.
Like the Guardians, the guys in the Guardians. And I've said this before. You can tell when guys are saying it because they have to say it and when they actually mean it. And with DeLauder, oh, they meant it. Like,
really?
This kid's going to be fine. And with Quinshon,
Yeah.
the veterans and the Browns
fantastic.
are like, we got a dude.
Jay,
like, tons of dude.
What do you mean you couldn't win with an elite running back? I don't even understand what that means.
In the past 15 years, let's go that far back, there were teams that, well, look at the Browns. The Browns are a perfect example. They had an elite running back. What did they ever do? Would they ever win with him? You know, there are other examples of teams that had great running backs.
Right, but you still have to have the quarterback. You
well,
can't win without the quarterback.
I mentioned, I'm carefully mentioning Philadelphia because they've got a lot of other pieces that we don't have.
Right.
However, in the past, there were teams that I felt had elite running backs but never got over the hump.
Right, but it wasn't because of the running back. It was because they didn't have good quarterbacks.
No, it was the other parts, but
yeah.
With the Browns, and I think the shift has happened. We talked about this on the show since its launch. I think the shift was just starting when we launched the show. I think we're well into the shift now.
What shift, though?
The shift of look at the NFL passing chart and compare it to the passing chart from 5 years ago. Your eyes will fall out of your head.
Yeah, I know that, but you still have to have a good quarterback to win.
Of course you do. But what I'm saying is, in the last 15-year era, because I do think things cycle through, and they're about 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Trends are set by the trendsetters, and then they win, and everybody quickly follows. It's a copycat league. 15 years ago, if you looked at the pass charts, the number of throws downfield, it's almost like we've forgotten it because of what we've seen the last 2 years. You look at the passing charts now, it's like we're playing flag football with sixth graders and they can't throw the ball 20 yards. Everything is short.
Yeah.
So if you have a running back today, I think you're more likely to be able to fill in all the other parts and win than you were 15 years ago. There were teams that had elite running backs 15 years ago and adequate pieces elsewhere, but it wasn't enough to lead with your running back. Now I think it is. I think you can do that. I think the Eagles proved last year.
But they had a great quarterback who played great in the Super Bowl.
You know,
a very good quarterback.
I was just going to say.
But he still played great in the Super Bowl. And they wouldn't have won.
But Bull.
Yeah.
And again, this is kind of like a chicken or the egg scenario.
Yeah.
And I wish Steve had an open mic here. I haven't watched all the Eagles games this year. I've watched the Eagles enough this year to look at what they're doing, and I'm still saying, I don't want to say the jury's out on Hurts. He's won a Super Bowl. But there are times where I watch him and I say, God, what am I looking at?
Right, but ultimately,
I've
sidetracked us, and I apologize, so I'll end it with this. If Carson Wentz was their quarterback last year instead of Jalen Hurts,
they would not have won the Super Bowl. And I wouldn't for a second.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't for a second say they could. But we lived through an era where to win a Super Bowl, you needed a Brady, a Manning. You needed that elite guy. I think what the Eagles proved last year, and I know I might be in the minority here, I don't think Jalen Hurts is an elite guy. I don't.
He's better.
I think he's a very good quarterback.
He's better than the quarterback they won with 5, 6 years ago.
It doesn't matter, G.
Well, of course he is.
All right, doesn't matter.
Don't be overly obnoxious about it. It's all right. I was
overly obnoxious. We spent the last 8 minutes talking about something that wasn't the topic.
It wasn't 8 minutes. It was 2 minutes.
And I understand why you would ask that question, but it's just that's why I think the Browns are in a decent spot. If Judkins is that guy, we're better off than people think.
G.
This one is I could have went offensive, but this is a game that is actually very winnable. And to win this football game, if you need somebody to step up, this is one of those games where go back to Indianapolis Colts where Myles Garrett just won a whole game. You can go back to a couple of times against the Bengals where Myles Garrett wins a whole game. McNuggets just told me 3 offensive linemen is out. It's a problem.
I thought the question was which offensive player.
It was, and it's classic G to pick a defensive player. And question that's which offensive player.
I thought maybe I misread
Nope. You read it right.
I could save it and be like, Myles Garrett scores points, though. I got Myles Garrett scoring the touchdown.
He might be a tight end.
Right. Using him on offense as a fullback.
I wish. God, I wish.
But I will say, I'm going to go off the beaten path. If you tell me I can't use a defensive player, I'm going to go with Isaiah Bond.
Ooh, I like that.
Because right now, usually when a quarterback comes in a game, they find somebody they link up with, right? Somebody they find some sort of attachment to. Isaiah Bond is the only dude that can get open. I was encouraged by what he did. He made a couple of nice plays, 50-50 balls last week with Joe Flacco. I would like to see some reverses with him, some jet stuff with him. I would like to see him get some quick screens out. He's the twitchiest guy they have. I think if you can get him out and make sure that he can get a ball deep and find some open space, he's the guy that can spread the field. So I like Isaiah Bond in that role. And by the way, he hasn't dropped the football. So I'm going with Isaiah Bond.
That's a good pivot from Myles Garrett. I like that.
Who needs to step up the most to help Dillon Gabriel is easy. Dillon Gabriel needs to help Dillon Gabriel. So it really comes down to decision-making at the quarterback position and taking care of the football. And he's the one with the football in his hands. So, once you release the football, it's up to Jerry Jeudy whether or not he's going to catch it or not. And Joe Flacco can tell you all about that. And I hear you on Quinshon. I agree with that. You can make a case for the offensive line and certain guys on the offensive line. But ultimately, this comes down to Dillon being smart with the football, getting rid of the football, getting quick out of the pocket. I think we're going to get back to the earlier point made about Kevin's offense of bootlegs and rollouts. I think that's going to be a big part of this. You have to move the pocket with him because the size that we've already talked about, and it comes down to his decision-making. So if Dillon is putting the ball in jeopardy and turning the football over, well, that's on Dillon. And if Dillon is, I don't think they're going to ask him to be overly aggressive, but if they can stay in manageable 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and he's making quick passes to convert first downs and keep the chains moving, Dillon Gabriel is the one who can help Dillon Gabriel the most.
Let me ask you this question, Jason, because I agree with you what you're saying right there. It's like he's probably been hammered. Like, hey, listen, we're not turning the football over. But how do you, if you're a young player, how do you decide whether or not I need to take a shot here? Like, because we talked about the guys, the quarterbacks that are guys.
The scoreboard usually tells you.
There is something in your stomach that says, I could get it there. What is the fine line between being like, I know coach is telling me not to do this, but man, this could change the complexion of the football.
I actually think Kevin will give him the freedom. I know he's a rookie. I know it's his first start. I think he'll have the freedom to, if you see something, take it. And if you, I don't know that you want him changing protections and changing play calls at the line in his first start, but I think they'll give him the option of, you got 2 play calls based on what you see. You know what I mean? Pick one at times. I think there is more trust in Dillon Gabriel from this organization than a lot of people realize.
Why?
I think the head coach and the quarterback see it the same way.
Really?
Well, then the quarterback better play well, because if he doesn't, it's on Kevin.
Well, fine. You mean in the first start he's got 1 shot and then that's it?
Of course not. On
Okay,
the first
well,
start.
that's what you just said. You just said
I
you
did
better
not
play well.
say first game. I'm saying overall.
And I agree with
There's
that.
been too many passes given to the 2-time Coach of the Year over the last couple of years. So that's over for me.
So define play well.
You know
More touchdowns than turnovers.
No,
Like, it starts there for me.
You know what I'm talking about.
But no,
you
I'm
know it
just-
when you see it over. I'm not saying one game. I expect him to play pretty badly in this one game. Over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks, I want to see improvement.
Yeah.
I want to see a guy who looks like an NFL quarterback, not a superstar.
I think he
looks like a legitimate NFL quarterback.
I think he will be competent. That's not to say you can't do better. I think he will be competent.
They haven't had a lot of competent quarterback play the last couple of years.
Well, I guess what you're saying is, look, and I just want to see you know, I'm invested in seeing if he got what it takes. I'm gonna watch, but the first game, I'm gonna give him a little bit of grace to say, okay, I just want to see if it looks like you're not swimming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I want to see from first game to second game, where's the improvement?
Yeah.
Did you improve in some of the other areas?
And that second game's at Pittsburgh.
Right. And so that's the second joint.
Welcome to the league.
So
Yeah.
now, so this is why I was saying before, I would have preferred that they ripped the Band-Aid off, because by now you would have had some stuff with Trent. You had a good chance at understanding who it is and what's going on. Yeah. Like, he would have been seasoned a little bit by now. But we can't argue over it's water under the bridge.
Yeah.
But I just want to see if he comes out here and looks like he's just not swimming. Like, oh my God.
Bull, who you got?
Now, if we could say just anything like G did with defense, I would say the answer is actually Kevin Stefanski, who's the worst offensive coordinator of football since the start of last year. I don't even know if there's any debate about that.
Provably true.
So
look at their
he
production.
needs to step up his game and stop running out this high school offense he's running. I know, everybody stinks. It's never his fault. I get it. But you guys were so stunningly wrong on this. Jason's got going all philosophical on Dillon Gabriel. G. Bush don't even know what the hell's going on. He's picking a defensive player. Jay saying Quinshon Judkins.
I'm philosophical because I think the guy holding the football needs to do the most to help himself.
No, I think by
But that's
philosophical, you outthought the question.
Yes, that's right.
Who needs to step up?
Somebody else.
He needs to step up. That's a Jason answer.
Thank you.
That's what he does.
Thank you, Jay. Meanwhile, Jay saying Quinshon Judkins, which, he needs to step up. But,
all right, all great wise
how much more can he do?
We're standing at your feet.
How much more can
enlighten
Judkins
us.
do? You can't win just running the football. So the obvious answer is the most important player in the passing game, and that's Jerry Jeudy. You paid Jerry Jeudy to be a top receiver. He was very good last year. Everybody has lost their minds. Last year, you had knuckleheads like Mike and Earl and everybody else. I can't call Earl a knucklehead. Mike's a knucklehead. Earl is my guy. So sorry, Mike. You're getting knucklehead a lot.
Fair enough.
But go overrating Jerry Jeudy, and now we're to the point where I think there's 50 wide receivers better than Jerry Jeudy. Like, give me a break. Look at you want to give Kevin Stefanski gets a pass, but Jerry Jeudy gets no pass. He's never caught a football from a decent quarterback in his entire
He
career.
can't catch footballs from shitty quarterbacks either.
Let me ask you a question, Jason. How many drops did he have last year?
He led the league, I think, 14.
Okay, that's less than
I
one
don't
a
know
game.
that for
Don't
sure,
tell me
but
he
I think
can't
it was in
catch.
that area.
Nobody drops the ball that often.
No,
that's one per game.
When the offense is bad as the Browns is, the drops look worse.
Agreed. Agreed. It's a flaw in his game. But to make the guy's a pretty good receiver. There's definitely not 30 receivers better than him in football.
No, I know, but
chance.
it's funny because it's like when we say interceptions aren't Emerson's thing.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, well, okay, it is a flaw in his game. He has one job, catch the ball.
Yeah,
and he does most of the time.
Well, most of the time, but at a higher rate than anybody else in the league isn't good enough.
No, I don't think
those
that's
big third down conversions.
Right.
Hey, Mike, did Jerry Jeudy have the highest drop percentage since the start of last year? I don't think so. I bet
I would say he does. I bet that he does. But maybe not.
Probably, I think it skews higher than you think.
I doubt it.
He got stepped.
So the guys who don't have a lot of drops have 7. So he had 6 more drops than other guys. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying he's a pretty good wide receiver. If he didn't drop the ball, he'd be ranked even higher.
His drop rate since the start of last season is 12.2.
Oh my God.
How do you feel?
There can't be one higher than that.
How do you feel he's playing this year?
With a minimum number of targets.
How would you assess his play this year?
What's that, Mike? Well, hold on. You're both talking at the same time.
Yeah, he said his drop rate is over 12%. I said there can't be one higher than that as long as you look at like a minimum number of targets.
His drop rate is 12%. He only had 13 drops the whole season out of how many targets?
Last year, he had a 9% drop rate.
So he's gone down.
He had 13 drops out of 90 receptions.
Okay, so who had a high? There were guys with more than a 9% drop rate, no?
This year he's at 13.3%.
Okay, but I said last year. Let's go to last year first.
I'm trying to. I have one hand and I have to hit the other button.
Well, let's go. Get the other hand going, Mike. You do it at home personally, so let's go.
Whoa.
That was funny.
Thank you.
That was quick.
Yeah.
Can I sort this individually? It's just this is teams.
Very frustrating that we can't get this stat.
All right, here it is.
It was lightning
Drop
fastball.
rate. Last year, Amari Cooper led the NFL with drop rate.
Well, he's gone now. He's out of the league.
How was that? 13.1?
14. You say 14?
14.1, correct.
Where was Jerry Jeudy in that?
Now, by the way, these are wide receivers that the Browns have determined are serviceable wide receivers.
Yes.
So what do we want to cut off?
That's their blind spot.
The target number at?
I'd say at least 60 targets.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4 a game, probably 4 a game.
All right, so 60 targets?
Yeah.
So Jeudy ranks, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th.
Okay, which is not good, but it's not number one.
Last year?
Who was
last year?
Who were some of the guys last year that had worse drop rates?
Jaden Reed of the Packers.
Yep.
Dontavian Wicks of the Packers.
Yeah.
He's a running back. Alan Lazard of the Jets.
Yep.
Romeo Dobbs of the Packers.
Man, Packers talking about drop problems.
Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle. Nobody talks about his drops.
And then it's Jerry Jeudy.
Well, Jalen Waddle is sort of mid, bro.
Well, that's why.
Yeah, he's not. Here's the thing. You can parse all the words you want. Everybody knows Jerry Judy's not playing well. I'm not
arguing, and that's why he has to step up his game.
Yeah, look, he has to not be the guy that he's been.
His drop rate this year is worse than even last year when it wasn't very good.
Which is
he
shocking.
needs to get it. He needs to get his bleep together,
Jason,
and he needs to help out his young receiver.
I used to be the one that going long. You know, I used to be the one that just talk in circles. I'm like, he's not good. He's not balling. The guy Bull wants to step up is the guy who's dropping the ball.
Doesn't it make sense?
Yeah, but he's got to be better than that.
That's the guy who has to step up.
He's saying makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
He can't be Jerry, I dropped the ball, Jeudy.
Right.
He can't be that guy.
He's got to play better. That's why I need him to step up.